This video is sponsored by Squarespace. More on them soon. Hey guys, Ron here, and for the past few years I've been turning basically everything into a Pokemon, from other video game characters to your grandma. I've Pokemonified them all. For anybody who's new, I didn't actually turn grandmothers into Pokemon, although technically today's video ain't far off from that idea, because we're finally turning real people into Pokemon. Technically Poketubers aren't real people, we don't have feelings, but even inanimate objects can become Pokemon, so it's all good. Over the last year, I've gotten a bunch of requests for this exact concept. People who watch my channel obviously watch other Pokemon YouTubers as well, so why not take a few of them, find out everything about them, and turn them into pocket monsters that embody their personality, interests, channel, and brand. But as a YouTuber myself, I know that a person's online persona is only a fraction of who they are as a person, so I'm not just gonna take the superficial aspects of them like their channel icon and favorite Pokemon and turn them into a cheap caricature of their brand. Instead, I'm gonna interview them, find out who they really are, and turn the actual person into a Fakemon. And most importantly, the fact that they're part of the video means that we can get to actually see their reaction to the Fakemon they inspired. I invited two Poketubers who are masters of their own corner of the Poketubing community. One is the king of facts, lore, and theories, while the other is renowned for their actual gameplay abilities. How's it going, Lockstin? Are you doing well?
I'm doing great.
Maybe the terrestrial crystals are shards from some massive meteor that hit Paldea in the past.
Nope, too big of a tangent. Save it for a future video.
Okay, let's go back to the feathers.
It's freezing outside, and I'm locked in my house for several days because of it.
Is this the kind of environment that you like to live in and be around?
Yes, there's trees everywhere.
How many trees?
I live in one of the top 10 tree cities in the US, which means they have, like, the most trees per capita.
I like how there was an actual answer to that question. Now, your name is Austin Lockwood, right? And it's funny because that is literally also technically your username, right? Mm-hmm. Wow.
First part, last name, last part, first name. Came up with it when I was, like, 13, making an account probably for MySpace or something.
Yours stuck because it sounds cool, too.
It's from Wales.
And then Austin, do you know the etymology of Austin?
I don't, actually. Though, given most names, it's probably like lover of God or something like that.
It's definitely not biblical, but not Austin. I think that's like, it's probably Latin or something.
It's Latin for magnificent and majestic.
I was already going to make a magnificent and majestic Pokemon, but so that doesn't help. And then technically I would also ask, like, if you have a mascot and why you choose your mascot. But again, your mascot is a completely original character because you originally weren't a Poketuber. Once you started to lean in on the Pokemon stuff, did you ever think of like a Pokemon for a mascot that you identify with? I
haven't really thought much about it, except in the case of Impidimp. I stinking love Impidimp. No joke. I've commissioned a tattoo of Impidimp. I never went through with it, but I got the art made.
Can you talk about the kind of branding you like to go for?
Originally, it was always just gamer, talking like the 2012 version of what was cool and gamery, which was always skulls and bullets and all that stuff, because, you know, I was a high school student.
I guess another kind of thing that's associated with you and your channel, but mostly you, I guess, now that you're the avatar of your channels, is the plaid?
Buffalo plaid.
You literally, every time I see you, you're wearing flannel. You're wearing...
Well, I did put this on for the interview specifically, because I do really like the pattern. Also, it's really popular in where I am, so it helps me blend in.
If I were to make a Pokemon based on you, you'd be okay with some bone-related stuff.
Oh yeah, I love bones and skeletons and stuff.
Cool. Why?
Honestly, I feel like a part of that is probably because I wasn't allowed to as a kid. Any shirt or anything that depicted bones or swords or violence of any kind was always a big no-no. Very, very sheltered early life. Which honestly made it so that whenever I did see that, I was even more curious about it. You know, and now I got like animal bones as decor in the house kind of thing. Because bones are just so cool. They're rocks in your body. I will say I was very, very quiet as a kid, and I still am. Not wholly. I was very much the whole like Sobble evolution line.
Even with the hair.
Yeah, even the emo phase in the middle. I don't even remember the transition period about like when I decided to start having my hair be up.
I wish I had like an iconic look like you. You have a signature smirk that I can utilize in the Fakemon, I think.
I know those like personality quizzes that are always like, what type are you? I always would get grass.
Well, I was thinking of grass. I was thinking of a tree.
I love trees. Actually, this hasn't been revealed yet. I love trees so much, I just got this.
Whoa!
Yeah. It's not finished or colored at all yet, but it's 2 trees and their roots are around a mana bottle.
Oh my god. How do you think your friends would describe you?
Quiet and insightful. Oh, chaotic is a word they use a lot.
Chaotically insightful.
I'm minorly bipolar, like officially diagnosed. So hence the whole like chaotic, but also quiet and insightful. But it just depends how I feel that day or that hour.
What's funny is like when you said that, I was like, nice, but more because like, oh, now I have an interesting aspect of you to incorporate, not because that's awesome or anything. We really are leaning on to a specific kind of Pokemon in my mind, which is very cool. You were either, like before this interview, you were either going to be super tall or super short as a Pokemon. What's your height?
I am 5'11" or 6, depending on how I spined that day.
Yeah. What would you say is an important part of your identity?
Oh, I guess plaid. I like how typically I could stay calm in serious situations. It's gotten me out of trouble a lot of times, and it also has helped a lot of people in my life easily. Hardworking. Other than that, as cringy as it sounds, a hardcore gamer. Big gamer energy. Steam just did the whole the year in review thing where it like shows you your stats and like what games you played this year and all that. The average amount of new games bought was 4 games on Steam a year, and then for me I had several hundred. Granted, most of those are tiny indie games that I got like super on sale, but like if I'm not actively working, I'm playing something, probably an indie game.
Did you say per year?
Yeah.
Several hundred?
Yes.
That's the most gamer thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, most of these games are like, you can complete like 3 or 4 of them in a day. Short little indie experiences. But I do that so often and so much that I do feel like that's probably a core part of me.
Does this have anything to do with the fact you're bipolar?
Maybe. Because I'm either working hard at a computer or I'm playing at it.
I would ask you what your favorite interests are, but you're a gamer.
Outside of video games, I like cats and Magic the Gathering.
What about skills? Do you have any skills?
Oh, I do. I really like cooking, actually. I picked up curry making and fondue making over the pandemic, and I think I got pretty good at both of them.
Are you making it from scratch, or are you using like the curry kits or whatever? Like
I'm making it from scratch.
Wow.
Like I got my own spices and heavy cream and ghee. Ghee is expensive. Why is ghee so expensive?
I'm not a ghee trader.
And just nutrition science. I got super into that when I started keto and stuff. Like, I read so many books about it and know so many things about it now.
Do you want to describe what the hell a keto diet is in like one sentence?
Keeping carbs so low that your body no longer uses sugar for energy. It instead uses fat. I think that's what started my love of cooking, is because all of a sudden I had to, because like prepackaged things are very much not keto. So carbs in general are just bad. They're not great for you in the first place, but if you're diabetic, they're like quadruple bad. So I looked into like what are some good low carb diets and discovered that one, and then okay, I'll try it, and then I tried it, and then I lost 170 pounds. Regained like 60 of them since then, but
well, it's funny because like naturally when I'm thinking about the Pokemon I want to make, it would eat berries, but I'm like, nah, it needs to be a carnivore if it's going to be a Lockstin Pokemon.
Maybe that's why it's mischievous.
Maybe, okay, it hunts too. Any superpower you would have?
Probably just teleportation, so I can just go places without having to work.
What about favorite color?
Greens and pinks. I used to always say my favorite color is any super bright neon color against black.
I really don't know how to incorporate the plaid though. How do you do that? But it's gonna be there.
Probably be ignored.
No, it's not. It's gonna be there. This one was already in my head before I even interviewed Lockstin. I'm making a little forest spirit with a wooden mask that gathers food to cook. It'll have a mask inspired by Lockstin's various logos with a smirk reminiscent to Austin's famous smile. Although, keep in mind that this isn't the actual face, it's just a wooden mask. The bush on the head alludes to Lockstin's hairdo. This hunter-gatherer makes curry that is extremely nutritious. To be fair, Austin does collect a ton of plushies and technically games. His big wooden spoon also falls into the trope of a caveman with a bone. As a ghost type, it will be able to vanish, giving it teleportation powers that Lockstin desires. But the entire idea of a forest spirit kinda incorporates the fact that Lockstin loves trees and has a last name that literally means forest near a fortified place. It'll have a berry bush for a tail. It uses the berries to smear war paint on it. That'll be how we're gonna incorporate the plaid pattern and Lockstin's favorite color scheme of bright green and pink on black. Notice how the paint and chip above the eye hole makes it look like this Pokemon has Lockstin's signature scar look. Check out Utensil. The Scavenger Pokemon, a grass ghost type. Utensil run around the woods looking for ingredients to cook into their perpetual curry. They offer this nutritious stew to Pokemon who live in harmony with nature. Their wooden masks protect them in battle, while their spoon is used as a makeshift weapon. They smear the berries they grow on themselves to intimidate foes. They're incredibly erratic in battle, but super calm when cooking.
Oh, it's cute! Oh my goodness! Oh, it's got the colors! And wood! Didn't even think about the cooking. The spoon, it's there because of the cooking! Oh, and the shinies are the classic Noggin logo, the old one. Oh my goodness. My week has been made. Ability moody. Fitting. Hospitality is the, like, ghost, sinisty ability, right? Yeah, when the Pokemon enters battle, it showers its ally with hospitality, restoring a small amount of the ally's HP. Fitting. The paint is smeared in a lattice plaid pattern. Actually, I didn't even think of that at first, which means it's subtle, but I do like it a lot now that it's pointed out too. Because of the iconicness! The flannel! And its bright colors on black, just like I said, I love. Very well done. Oh man. The chip in the mask mimics your eyebrow scar, as well as the division in the berry paint smeared on the mask. Fun fact, it's fashion. Is that the right eyebrow? It's fashion, it's not a real scar. I haven't had a genuine smile like this in so long. It's been kind of a slump lately, but this is fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to show this to everyone that I know. My wife in particular is probably going to flip a bucket. That's the PG way of saying what I was thinking, actually. I'm gonna go do that right now. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and thank you for being such an iconic inspiration. But before we welcome our second guest, I would love to introduce our amazing sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform that'll help you build the ideal website that'll represent you as a person or a brand. Securing your own website is incredibly important for anybody's future, no matter the hobby or career. So in order to create a beautiful website without stressing about all the complicated stuff, you'll need the tools Squarespace offers. With its fluid engine, you can start designing with their best-in-class website templates and customize every design detail with their easy drag and drop technology. It is a fact, at least according to me, that most of you are going to be making a website at some point in your life. Whether it's to show content of yours by hosting videos, to post your entire art portfolio, sell your products, display all your social links, schedule media posts, and way more, you'll find that Squarespace has a tool for pretty much anything that you'd want a website to do. My favorite aspect is that they took the time and effort to make short and simple tutorials online to demonstrate every single feature of theirs. So check out the description and go to squarespace.com/truegreen7 to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. It'll help support this channel a great deal, and it'll help you build your own future. Now let's finally say hi to pChal, because he's been waiting patiently for like 12 minutes. How's it going, Jan? Nice to have you.
Fantastic to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right. It does not evolve. Very good. You guys are catching on. I'm really proud of you. Okay, sorry. I'm just still really annoyed at all the people in my chat asking about Pokemon evolutions in this game.
You're a relatively blunt person in terms of, you just say what's on your mind, I assume. And I feel like that probably does translate also to your channel name, Pokemon Challenges.
Yeah, kind of. This is an interesting point because a big part of my rebrand is going to be that we're going to change from Pokemon Challenges just down to pChal.
Okay, good.
I think having a really blunt name like that was, I think, really important. If you browse Twitch and you just see a channel who's just named Pokemon Challenges, you know exactly what you're going to get. Because Twitch doesn't really have thumbnails and stuff like that, right? Sure, so you kind of need to put a lot of work in to convey that.
But also, for example, when I have to search Pokemon Challenges, for example, I have like the Pokemon Awards that I do yearly, and I have to look for nominees for the Pokemon Challenges Award. I'm searching Pokemon Challenges, I just get you instead of other people.
Yeah, and I think I've messed some people's SEO up because of that, which is kind of a reason I want to switch. And then also it's just shorter and nicer, and I'm known by that anyway.
I don't think you're the type of person who like set out to be like a Pokemon YouTuber. You just did your thing, I assume.
Yeah, I think I started at a very different point. I used to play StarCraft 2 back in the day.
Okay.
And that's how I got into like content and esports and streaming. And my channel kind of exists now because I had the idea of, hey, this like hardcore gaming Twitch sphere could really use some Pokemon because everyone was just doing like random shiny hunts. So combining those two things is kind of where my channel comes from. And I think that's why it feels I'm not really part of the like classic Poketuber kind of section.
Which is funny because either coincidentally or because you started it, but now Pokemon challenges really are like the #1 niche.
Yeah.
You don't have like a mascot or anything because again, you're not a traditional Poketuber. But if you did have a mascot,
So I think there's 2 Pokemon that people mainly associate with me. The first one is Zangoose because it's my favorite Pokemon.
Nice.
A lot of my current branding, the red and white, is kind of like Zangoose, right? And then I think the other Pokemon that's mostly associated with me is Swellow, because in my Emerald Kaizo run, right, which is like my most successful video of all time, that was like the most iconic Pokemon and the Pokemon that like kicked off the attempt and made it so successful. So Pilot the Swellow.
that's hilarious because when even before the interview, when I'm thinking of, how do I turn pChal into a Pokemon, it really was some kind of Zangoose-like Pokemon with the expression of a Swellow.
Yeah. I think that's really accurate. Yeah.
But is there a type of Pokemon that usually ends up being good in a Nuzlocke? Like, what makes a Pokemon good in a Nuzlocke usually?
Usually the Pokemon that end up like making a big impact are the ones that evolve kind of early, right? And get like pretty decent moves kind of early, so they have a lot of impact throughout the entire run. Because if the Pokemon's only good for the Elite Four, it's not going to stick like super out, right? With stuff like Poliwrath, where you get like an evolution really early, or Donphan is a really good example of this, right? Something that evolves like in the 20s. Basically, they have a little bit of everything, right? They're a little bit defensive, they're a little bit offensive, they got some good moves, right? They're not too slow, right? All that kind of stuff, where it's just like a very good all-around package.
So if we were to make a stat, distribution for a Pokemon, a Yon Pokemon, you would want it to be very like balanced between everything.
I think so, yeah.
And in terms of iconography, it's, I guess, mountains.
That like very vague idea of like the triangles kind of look like mountains, that's kind of going to stick around. That's always been like very consistently associated with like my brand, is like the mountains that you have to climb that are associated with the challenge. Yeah,
Because I definitely have to have an environment for this Pokemon, and that'll help.
yeah. I really like mountains, like landscape wise. Like I live in southern Germany and I'm really close to Switzerland, and I really love driving down through like the Alps.
You were born, raised, and still are in Germany right now?
Yep. Super German. When I was 3 years old, I moved to Singapore for 3 years, and I went to like an English-speaking kindergarten there. So I learned English really, really early, like conversational English. And if you learn a language that early, like at 3 years old, you're basically learning it along with your mother tongue, right?
Yeah.
There's just a chance for some people that you don't develop an accent.
I was going to ask.
It's really interesting. Normally, the first questions Americans ask me when they hear that I'm like fully German, but I like lived abroad and stuff like that, they're always like, "Oh, were your parents military?" And that's like a very American thing.
That's what I was thinking a little bit.
So yeah, my dad worked for Mercedes-Benz, which is like the most German thing
very
ever.
German, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why we moved around a bunch. So I was there in Singapore, and then we went back to Germany for 2 years, and then 3rd and 4th grade I spent in Hong Kong. Where I also got to speak like a lot of English and stuff like that. So I started consuming a lot of English content as well, and that immersion, and then watching all my TV shows in English. Yeah, I think that's why my Germanness doesn't really come through in my content at all. Yeah. No, actually, I think I'm very German. I think I do a lot of cultural things that people kind of don't expect of me that are like very Middle European. Like I'm like very into like techno and rave culture. And I go to like a techno rave, whatever, every other weekend, and I party with my friends, and I have a bunch of friends that are like DJs and stuff like that.
If you were to condense German culture into like a sentence, what would it be?
That's just so hard. Oh my god. Here's the thing, right? Germany has a very complicated history. The most unique aspect of German national identity is our relationship that we have to our past. Flick through German TV programs, there's always going to be one program that's showing a World War II documentary. So much of our like constitution and national identity is about like preventing fascism and authoritarianism and stuff like that. There's just everyday reminders of our past. I like that aspect. We're very matter of fact.
I was literally going to say that phrase.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that is basically the German stereotype, right? Where it's like, you
Yeah,
guys are
kinda.
matter of fact, and for the good,
Yeah.
for a good reason, honestly. I'm Jewish. I hope,
Yeah.
hopefully people don't be like, oh, you're just grilling him because you want him to like apologize or something.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think they just make my Pokemon, like give him like an SS uniform. Jesus Christ. I think this actually ties back into my content really well. I think we can actually bring this back. I think European humor is very dry, right?
Yes.
I think this is something that's kind of unique to my content a little bit. I think I'm very dry and very sarcastic.
Very. I guess so. The point is definitely not water type. You're very dry.
Yeah, true, yeah.
It's very clear. I mean, it's literally the number one reason why I picked you for this potentially first video in a series, because you have a clear personality, and that will help for this.
That's a huge compliment actually for a content creator. Thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome.
that.
What's just your important part of your identity?
A big part of my identity is something that I like about myself a lot is I think I am the most patient person that I have ever met. This obviously comes through my content, right? Because I can play an Emerald Kaizo for like 6 months. I can hang out with anyone. I can like basically make friends with anyone, and I'm like very charitable towards people and not very judgmental. I think sometimes to a fault as well, because I think sometimes I'm a bit of a pushover. But then again, if you watch my streams, I don't let anyone in stream chat get away with shit.
Chat,
so.
you're not.
Yeah.
When thinking about making, let's say, Pokemon challenges, Pokemon, I can always imagine the face. It's not like it's necessarily smug, but it's like definitely an intelligent-looking expression. But I have to now make sure that it doesn't look like it's, well, not above everything. You know?
Yeah, but I think that's okay. That's a vibe that I also intentionally propagate. Is like I used to intro all my videos with I'm probably the best Nuzlocker in the world, and that's like a conscious branding thing. And I know that comes off as like smug, and I know that comes off as like arrogant, but I just like, to a new viewer, this like instantly sells the channel, right?
Yeah.
People that watch my content a lot actually know that that I don't actually think of myself as like this person that's way better than everyone else. But I also understand that that's like, if you want to hit the impression that most people have of me, I think having that arrogant expression on that Pokemon is probably accurate.
I guess patience would be a skill, but what are some actual skills? That's an actual skill, to be fair. But like, what are some tangible physical skills of yours?
Ooh. I would say I have like decent knife skills when cooking. Oh, this is always really impressive to Americans. I can open a bottle with a lighter.
Wait, what? How's that even? Okay.
You got your bottle, right? It's sealed off. The goal is to make a lever, like so. Fingers pushing here, and then you just pop it off.
Oh my god. And how do you just discover this? So someone told you to do this?
Every German can do this. We're born with this skill.
Little known
Every
fact.
German watching this right now is like, that's the most unimpressive thing I've ever seen. And every American's like, that guy just put a magic trick in there. What the?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that in the thumbnail.
No, I think that's I think that's it. Yeah. In the later years of high school, my goal was just to be a StarCraft 2 professional, which
I mean, you
did
can.
not work
You
out.
can.
Nowadays, you can. The competition's not as fierce. That's true. Yeah. That's probably the game at this point that I've played the second most after Pokemon. If it helps, I played Protoss in StarCraft.
I don't know what that is, but that'll help. Favorite number?
Ooh, good question. It's Graham's number, which is the largest mathematical number ever used in a real mathematical proof. There's like videos explaining like how big it is. It's really insane.
Definitely can't include that in a stat distribution or anything. Couldn't just say 7 or something?
You know what? I'm gonna go with 12.
What about favorite color?
It used to be orange. I like, and now I'm very like pastel colored, kind of vibe. And then the red for my old branding, I've used in so much stuff that I know the hex code by heart. It's hashtag E45851.
Oh my god. Why don't I know my favorite number, but color's hex code? Oh yeah, I guess I will ask you any powers you would have.
So my favorite superpower, bar none, has always been telekinesis.
Okay. How did I not put this in one of the questions? Because this makes so much sense. But like, what's your favorite animal?
Ooh, I think it's ants. I think
Ants.
so. It's not for like aesthetic reasons or anything. Just in terms of like what I think is cool and fascinating. I think ants are insane animals. They build like such insane complex structures. Their like societies are really weird and like interesting, and they wage like wars against each other, and then two like colonies clash, and then one wins and like enslaves the other one, and then the slaves revolt, and it's crazy. They're like medieval humans basically. They like farm caterpillars and shit. It's crazy. Ants are insane. My favorite animal of all time, just aesthetically to look at, is a bird called the shoebill. Have you seen this bird?
Yeah, shoebills are awesome. Kind of fits honestly for you.
Just the face. It's so interesting.
I may turn you into a shoebill. We'll see. But
What a cool animal.
what would be a Pokemon that you would be offended if I like? What would it look like for you to be offended?
The fact that you're like talking to me for now, letting me talk about myself, and then turning me into a Pokemon. Who am I to complain about anything that you do? Like, this is an awesome experience. Everyone would want this, right? Obviously, if it's just like a Gaijinka of me, and he's wearing like an Oktoberfest uniform, right? And he's got like he's Zangoose. He's got an Oktoberfest uniform. He's got the disgusting long hair, and he looks really arrogant. Like, then I'm like, okay, maybe we wasted a little bit of our time with this interview. But no, I think you're getting a pretty good idea of what I like. I have very much faith in you that if you just follow your instincts, you're not going to do anything wrong.
So my goal is honestly straightforward. I'm taking a lot of what Jan said and creating a steel psychic shoebill. It'll have Jan's infamous smug face, with a bit of sharp edges to allude to his 3 mountain iconography, like the 3 points on the head. Its almost mechanical looking eyes will glow and be the shape of glasses. The cheek feathers that shoebills have will be translated into Jan's iconic earphones. It works for this metallic bird. It'll have these feathers that it detaches and controls using telekinesis, Jan's favorite superpower. They're basically a nod to his knife skills, and even the psychic type alludes to the magic trick Jan showed us. A bunch of the armor will be inspired by the Protoss from StarCraft. Even the 3 mountains on its back are inspired by both his branding and some Protoss armor. I mean, the entire thing being techno-looking alludes to the raves he attends. The colors are ripped straight from his channel, although with a bit more of a psychic hue. I left the following out of the interview, but it turns out Jan studied traffic engineering, and it's a nice coinkydink that German traffic lights are dark gray and obviously have a red light. Here is Palladium, the challenge Pokemon. A steel psychic type from Bill and Palladium, a rare metal. Palladium perch on top of the highest mountains, calling out for the strongest challengers by clicking their bill. When engaged in battle, Palladium will use their telekinesis to launch their sharp feathers and block attacks. They take great pride in solving puzzles and calmly defeating stronger enemies. Palladium are surprisingly friendly and love to relax with others after intense battles.
Oh, sorry, I swore immediately. It's a shoebill. It's got the branding colors. It's got the dark gray. I already see the glasses. Are those headphones? All right, this is sick. Wait, so we got Steel Psychic, Technician, one of my favorite abilities. It's got Filter. I definitely have one of those. Analytic, I like it. Very solid. We talked about this, the stats. This looks like it would ball hard in Nuzlocke. Like, you get this early, you got a Steel Psychic type, it's got Technician, it's probably using a bunch of utility moves. This thing looks awesome. It's got like the floating feathers that it attacks with. This thing is so cool. Dude, shoebills are just awesome. It's got, dude, I'm in love with this. The Steel Psychic type fits so well, I feel like. I can like so imagine this like attacking with like the feathers. God, that's so cool. The facial expression I feel like fits so well too. It looks so smug. Oh, this thing's awesome. Calling out for the strongest challengers by clicking their bill. Palladium are surprisingly friendly and love to relax with others after intense battle. That's so cute. This is so me. I just feel like this fits so well into like the world of Pokemon, but I just feel so represented by it. Like, you could imagine already the plot of the entire anime episode where this thing comes up, right? Like, it's so great. The 3 mountains in your branding are alluded to on the head and neck of... Oh, true! Yeah, the head is my logo. Wait, that's sick. I didn't even notice that. The armor is partially inspired by the Protoss. Yeah, true. The shiny is a reference to the Dark Templar. That is the colors. Yeah, that's so sick. Yeah, the headphones, I see it. Coincidentally worked really well with the cheek feathers of the shoebill. Yeah, that's true. That is just what they look. Dude, all the design elements came together so well for this. The reason I like it so much is like it incorporates so much of like the things that I like, both in a Pokemon and that like I think represent my personality in like a good way, but it also just looks like a Pokemon. And it looks like a Pokemon that I would want to use in a Nuzlocke 100%. Like, you roll this as an encounter, you're like, oh, this run is good now, you know? Dude, if this existed, it would be my favorite Pokemon, like, easily. Thank you, Ron, for doing this. This is really cool. This is actually, like, this is, like, the coolest, like, collab thing I've ever gotten. To have, like, a Pokemon made out of your person, like, I can't even, this is the coolest. I want a ROM hack where this thing is. The next ROM hack I'm having made in my community is going to have this Pokemon, 100%.
Well, damn, now I have something cool to look forward to. I gotta thank pChal for being a perfect guest and believing in this potential series. Let me know which other Poketubers you guys want to see in a potential part 2. And for that to happen, you need to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm sure you'd be interested in my videos where I invite 10 other Poketubers and we create Pokemon together, or any of my other Fakemon creation videos. Check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and my Patreon to get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early, which you can also get by pressing the join button. Follow me on Twitter where I post sneak peeks of my designs and final art too. Bye!